So I was lost in a reverie of looking out in my mind's eye from Malahide Hill across Lambay Island. Thank you, Deputy Farrell. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Look, like so many of us here, where we come from has been stitched into us, and it's been stitched into us even from the point of view of place name. I'm from Butlerstown. It's no great surprise that Butlerstown Castle is one of the heritage sites that would sit in my own mind's eye. Knockeen Dolman is less than a mile from my house, and you go there and you can't escape the fact that you're in a landscape that has had humans within it for 5,000 years and more. In my own, probably where I'm living now, probably more prosaically named Trovor, Big Beach, but at the end of the big beach we have our sandhills, and in amongst the sandhills is a shell midden which dates back to Mesolithic times, before people even knew how to farm on this island. And it's quite humbling to see the shell midden there, realise that you're part of a history that's unfolded on this island over the course of 10,000 years. And I suppose, much like Deputy Farrell looking out across Lambay Island, to look out over the back of Tramore Bay and think about the lives that people lived at that time and the landscape they inhabited. And Minister, this is a really significant piece of work, this bill. I commend yourself, the other ministers within your department, and the team of civil servants. I know it's been 10 years in the making, and I know in some senses it's over a century in the making. It's a historical artefact in itself, or it's at least seeking to update a heritage bill, or many pieces of heritage legislation that are coming together in this. There's a lot here that I very much welcome. The records of prescribed monuments, I think it's important. As a reference, I'm from Tramore, which is sometimes known as the Bay of Wrecks. Having that record within there of shipwrecks, I think that's important. That's an important part of our heritage as well. It may not be readily accessed or viewed in the same way as other parts of our built heritage, but I think equally important in many ways. I think having that the facility for the OPW to engage in the interpretation of the heritage sites that they have, that's really welcome as well. But I just wanted to talk more broadly about this government's commitment in the area of heritage. And the fact of the matter is that there's been small little pots of money created around heritage. Well, I say small pots, they're not inconsiderable either. The National Monument Service, there's been 300% increase in that funding stream since 2020. The Community Monuments Fund is a new fund, but is now going to back 140 projects across the country to the tune of 8 million. So that might not be those large-scale infrastructural projects that we all like to turn up to in the high-vis and the hard hats. But they're the €10,000 that stops the church roof leaking, or they're the €15,000 that's restored whatever it is, the local statue. And it's the type of money that's spent wisely within communities. It keeps alive heritage skills. It might be retouching a roof. If we don't pay to have thatchers, we will lose that skill. We'll no longer have thatchers no matter how much money we decide to throw at it. So it keeps those craft bases, that traditional skill set alive, and it's also money that's generally spent within the community. So it might be small pots of money, but it's money that travels a very, very long way within communities. And speaking of things that make a big impact within communities, I want to join with my Oireachtas colleague from Waterford. I know Matt Shanahan earlier gave a very warm tribute to Eamon McEnany, who's been the driving force behind Waterford Treasures. Waterford City, we're Ireland's oldest city, and we have, in my view, the best museum and heritage offering. We have a range of 5 museums as part of that Waterford Treasures conglomeration, I suppose, which tells the story of a city over 1,000 years old. And it is in no small part to Eamon McEnany, supported by others within the city and the community. But I think anybody with an involvement in those museums would happily acknowledge that without Eamon at the centre and as the driving force, that wouldn't have happened. So I just wanted to use the remainder of my time to very warmly acknowledge that huge contribution he's made to my city and to wish him the best in his retirement. Good morning, Ceann Comhairle.